me the form. I filled it out. I send it back to them, and they send it to a company called Proof.com. Proof.com is an authenticator. It's
Like background checks or something?
not background. Well, they knew everything about me.
So yes is the answer to that question.
In order to get in, they gave me 5 questions. Which of these people do you associate with? Which city did you live in? Which car did you have? So they know all those things.
Right.
And so then I got in. And so what it is notary. So people say you can't get a notary down here, but you can online at proof.com. But
that's interesting.
The point is, I had to send them 2 pieces of identification and then an interview with somebody, a video interview with them.
Oh, okay. So they got you on a video chat so they could meet you. And
so that proves that I'm the person in the pictures.
that's cool. That's interesting. I'll have to look into proof.com. I've never heard of it.
But I couldn't communicate with the first 3 people because my computer wasn't picking up my voice. And it's never been a problem before.
Until now.
Until this thing, it was never a problem with our meetings.
Right,
like
right.
So I went into the details of the computer setup, and I just kept entering microphone. Until finally there was
everywhere you can find to authorize using the microphone. Unblock. Let it work everywhere.
I found a switch about the microphone, and I unswitched it. I've never put it.
You never switched it in the first place.
Turned it off.
To Microsoft's credit, it should be off by default, and you should be asked to turn it on when you're trying to use it.
Then the third guy
It worked.
got my
Your proof.
So
That's pretty cool. So this is a service that's dedicated to verifying who you are electronically, so you don't have to do it in person.
Right, because if people go to try to do it in Mexico, it's not good in the States.
notary.
Yeah, a notary.
Notary,
Hmm.
Anyway, that's good.
So, a question about why you were using Proof to begin with. What kind of a mail service is this?
Oh, you were getting signed up for a new address, weren't you?
New address, okay.
A new mailbox.
So I have a
Yeah.
car that's registered in Arizona, but I don't want to drive it up to Tucson, have it smog. So if you don't live in Tucson or Phoenix areas,
Oh,
Right.
you don't have to have your car smog.
What is smog?
What is smog?
You have to check.
that's it.
It's an emissions check.
You've been down here way too long.
Oh, yeah, I have been. And actually, the last vehicle, I got it re-registered in Arizona, in
You have
Alaska.
to go
Yep.
to the little telephone booth.
Arizona, we went through this horrible experience where we had the insurance, and they said, yeah, but you didn't tell the DMV, and so they charged you $500. It was very racist. Anyway, that's another story for another time.
But anyway,
But it prompted us to stop giving tax money to Arizona
Hmm.
and re-registering in Alaska, because it's none of Arizona's damn business whether we have insurance on the car, even though we do.
but it is if you're driving in. It's mandatory in Colorado to get a license plate.
But it doesn't invalidate your registration.
Oh, it does in Colorado if you don't have insurance.
No, in Alaska it
Oh, in
doesn't.
Alaska.
And they can't pull you over for invalidating your registration because you don't have insurance in Arizona if it's registered in Alaska.
Oh.
The problem with the law is that attached to it is your onus to inform the DMV.
Hmm.
And the insurance companies in Arizona do that automatically. But we bought insurance from a side, like we're going to be in Arizona for 5 days.
Yes.
Right? And they don't have the obligation to inform the
Right.
DMV, which is all garbage in the first place, because here's my insurance.
Yeah.
Right? You can pull me over because the DMV's computer says I don't have insurance, but I can show you proof I have insurance. That's the spirit of the law, and they still took it to court and charged you $500. Hey, just
For driving without
without
registration?
informing DMV that we had legitimate insurance.
Oh.
That's what she got fined for.
Wow.
Is somebody trying to get in? I heard a ding dong.
I don't know. Let's find out.
Back to the original, my original.
It's
question.
Jim,
Which one?
How do you do a virtual
Canadian
box?
Jim. Hey, Jim. Hey, James.
We call him James.
How we doing?
Good morning. We're doing good.
Pretty good. It's early here, but that James thing. Somebody I just met in Qualicum Beach said, "Oh, everybody's called Jim." So we James. Anyway,
Well, I need to get in the habit of calling you James so that I can distinguish from the other Jim.
yeah, Jim Cunningham. He's got the name before me. I'm Jim too, and I don't. That's not.
Well, yeah, that's Big Jim.
Yeah, Big Jim. Big Jim, Jim, and James.
That's right.
That's right. There's 3 Jims on our. Anyway, all's well there.
Yeah, things are going good here. We're in Tequilas. I guess I've just hit the button. We're streaming. We're online on YouTube for everyone that's out there. This is the San Carlos Computer Club. Oh, you know what I realized? We don't have the main camera going, so I'm going to get that fixed right this moment.
Yeah.
I'm Scott from International Computer Solutions, and I have the wrong IP address in my camera. So you can't see who all's here. Sid, our friend Sid from Alaska is with us again. Woohoo!
I'll just lip sync and they'll think it's me.
Nobody can see any of us at the moment because I'm trying to get the right IP into the camera. That's what I get for eating breakfast instead of setting
Now
up.
it's projected.
Oh, I wish I was there for breakfast. That's for sure.
There we go. There's the group.
Hey.
We're in a little bit of a different setup today. Jonathan keeps saying that I can rearrange these tables any way I want, and I want to not have to rearrange them.
Well, you could, if you wanted.
Let's just tear it apart right now. The hell with this.
Yeah, screw this meeting. We're gonna do
I
a,
always wondered if I could rip one of these out.
not this table. Don't do this table. Well,
All the rows, all the chairs in one long row.
in typical fashion, I have created a document with a couple of topics on it. Sid, I did not get that last topic on it, so I guess we're not going to do it. I never read it either.
Oh.
HR leaders love using Bob. Don't miss this chance to see how Bob works.
That's coming out of the TV over there.
Money for the use of space. I need a 10 back.
I don't know.
It will happen at some point.
I got a 20.
We have a small group. Jim, you're our only online viewer today so
Really?
far. Chester hasn't showed up. And there's 6 of us. Oh,
They're in short supply.
Bill showed up.
well, Bill's here too.
Bill's doing double duty.
So there's 6 of us here in Tequilas and you online. And in typical fashion, I sent out a document with a few topics on it,
And nobody looked at it.
and nobody looked at it. So we know it's a traditional computer club meeting.
I looked
I
at it.
looked at it.
I looked
I
at
didn't
it.
read any of them.
You
but I
didn't
looked
open
at
any of them. There were 2 topics on there.
Well, who put the parking lot robot
I did.
on? Okay, Bill, why don't you tell us about the parking
I
lot robot?
I just thought it was cool. They're
Okay.
now using, you drive in, I guess, and a robot comes and lifts your car up, takes you around, and parks it somewhere. It's a robotic valet.
Wait,
I don't think you have to tip him.
but does he drive it or does he lift up the car?
I think it lifts up the car and
Fine.
So you
maneuvers
park
it
it
into
on
a
like
parking spot.
Oh, there isn't enough pictures for this. It's got some cute looking robot on the side here, but how the hell does that pick up a car?
Careful.
He's an old forklift.
No change.
Yeah, there definitely
I got
needs
my
to be
change.
some video
Oh,
of
did you?
this somewhere.
I called
The
Heather.
name of the robot is Parky. Meet Parky. 3.5-inch high autonomous mobile robot, AMR, that can park your car for you. This sleek robot operated by crawling under your parked car lifting it and autonomously moving it to the best available parking spot. Now, that just seems reeked with problems. I like,
One problem it would solve is losing your car in a parking lot
No, why would that solve that?
because you don't have to remember. They have to remember.
Well, yeah.
But you wouldn't even try to remember, and then if the computer forgot, then you'd be in real trouble.
I do kind of like the idea of showing up at valet parking and go, hey, Parky, go get my car. Bring it back to me.
It's right up there with the restaurants that have a robot deliver your food to you.
Right? Yeah.
We had one of those, and we were up in Edmonton.
Yeah.
Boston Pizza had a little
Yeah,
robot.
that
What was her name?
Pizza delivery. I wonder. I guess that's a drone that
Well, they have that too.
Well, this was in the restaurant, and it came around, and
backyard on the deck. Or have it come right to there. So,
The experience I've had that I've thought has been the most impressive is the Tucson campus. If you spend any time on University of Arizona's campus in Tucson, there are robots everywhere, and all they're doing is delivering stuff. There's these little robots. They're about 1.5 to 3 feet tall, and they got wheels on them, and they're just rolling around autonomously, bringing products back and forth.
did they ever collide with me?
No.
Well,
They've had some problems.
we while we were on campus, we had some funny interactions with them. Like Dee stood right in front of one to see what it would do, and it approached her, and he literally did like this little shimmy thing, and then backed a little ways, and then went around her, and then just kept going about her job. And we also saw somebody pick one up, like it had fallen off the curb or something, and we saw a student reach over and just put it back on its wheels, and away it went.
But
They're delivering food.
Yeah, it's like
Most of them,
DoorDash on campus.
by the way, Paul, the Ukrainians have repurposed those pizza delivery drones.
There you go.
I bet they have.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm really surprised because if Sid and I were on campus, I don't think those would last very long. I mean, can you
I
say
can either
glitter
confirm
bomb?
I can
Right?
neither confirm or deny any statement at this time as advised by my legal counsel. Just,
I'm just saying it seems ripe for pranks, right?
oh yeah, no.
Draw a nice little face on it.
Right.
Well, the pizza delivery one has a screen on the front with a little happy face on it, and it has a name.
what was her name? It was
Lori or something.
no, it was
Well, was it Penn State? They had a problem. The students were graffitiing all the
Yeah.
robots.
Yeah.
But it was really nice graffiti art.
Really upscale.
Well, no, it came down to 4 of the local graffiti artists
Yeah.
that they were after.
Well, how did you do that? You get on a skateboard and just keep scooting along to put the graffiti?
Well,
Lift it
well,
up with wheels.
On the skateboard on your knees and
Yeah.
paint.
That's what I mean.
well, if they're
Yeah.
like the robots on campus, you just tip it over and then you tip it back up when you're done.
So when it gets to you, your phone unlocks the top and you can get your stuff out
Yep.
of it.
It's like an Amazon
but
lock where you
it's-
just walk up to it, push the button, and
But it's
Or-
almost like these companies. I just read an article on it, and these companies are just bribing the hell out of the universities to get them to do it.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, you need to have your student body take pictures with the robots and post this many posts per month on social media, and always show it in a good light. Have your school write special. Here's the list of special rules we need to have in your set of rules for student conduct because of the robots. And you need to fix this, and you need to fix this, and you need to fix this. And the fees they charge are just out there. The school pays to have that there. The students pay to have on top of that to have that there.
then they got all the rules. They got
Yeah, and then they got all
they got
then
out
the
with the promotionals.
yeah, then the school has to do all the promotion, has to do all the support, and yeah, it's kind of a scam. It's like
what's the
how
advantage to the
DoorDash
school?
up the rate on deliveries for restaurants.
What
Tim,
advantage?
what were you going to say?
What advantage is it to the school? Like, why do they want them? Just for PR?
They're just being sold a bill of goods, like any other service.
Oh, they think it's going to make their campus more efficient.
Yeah. Hey, keeps kids out of trouble. They're in their room.
I remember the first time I was in Eastern it was a Eastern Bloc country, and they had two people on the bus. One took the money, and the other one drove it, and neither one seemed to be overstressed compared to the bus drivers that we have. We're trying to do both, and it just seemed like more jobs, and two families were eating off that one bus. We gotta stop taking food from people. They need couriers. Hire couriers.
Hey, I appreciate that. I want to go back to Parkey for a moment because I was reading through it, and I might be too quick to judge because it sounds like this device is equipped with sensors, cameras, radar, LiDAR. It allows it to navigate through the parking lot and avoid obstacles. It identifies your car by its license plate, so there's probably a privacy issue that's going on here. But by doing so, it can recognize the size, weight, and shape of your car, so it knows exactly what kind of car it's moving around.
But reading it off the license plate information.
That's the way it reads to me.
Yeah, so they got access to the DMV.
DMV. That's what it sounds like to me. So at first I was worried about a robot just welding my car around a parking lot, but now I'm a little more worried it's reporting me to the police.
Yeah, this guy doesn't have any insurance.
That's right. That's right. Or this license is expired or whatever it is.
This makes it hard to borrow your neighbor's license plate.
Right.
The robot's name.
Yeah, that's a good one, Jim.
Bella.
You're hiding from the police with your neighbor's license plate on your car, so he's trying to park your camper van as a Pinto.
Yeah.
Well, they probably have a compound where suspect vehicles go in and they just lock them up.
I think my example was bad. I think they would have carried it with, hey, if it was a Pinto, probably give it as much reverence as a camper van, right? Just give it a lot of extra space around it.
Well, I guess you guys have seen those ones where there's just a garage, a very small garage, and you just drive your car in, and you pay, and the door closes, and it disappears and goes up into. And I assume they had people doing the work upstairs. Anyway, they park it, and then when you call for your car, it comes back down again, and it's a turntable, and then it spins around until you can drive back out. You don't need turnaround.
It's like
spaces.
a jukebox.
Yeah.
I've seen
Exactly.
videos of stuff like this.
Yeah.
Parking
Yeah,
garage.
I've seen
saw
those
one in Waikiki 25, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
It was just you drove in, it's a big tower, and your car just went up, and it went across, and it slipped it into a slot. And then when you asked for it, it went over there and just pulled it out. It was sort of like a sandwich dispenser.
Right. Yeah.
But that was years and years ago.
Yeah.
I think it looks very similar to like a jukebox system where you're pulling discs and putting them away and bringing them out to be used. But the idea is to minimize the amount of space that's necessary.
And that's what in Waikiki, that's exactly what they were doing. They were using up a car depth by the width of this restaurant up, and that was they could store 60 cars in.
With a little alley behind the hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Took up very little land.
I mean, aside from cutting down on how much we use cars, that seems like a very efficient way to deal with having cars in parking. That's my phone, isn't it? I put it on Do Not Disturb.
Here's that article I was looking at.
That's that one over there.
Yeah, I put it on Do Not Disturb. What the hell?
Food delivery robots. Is food
one
delivery?
of the requests for the PR photos from the universities from Starship is the students you have in the photos have to have a healthy BMI.
Oh.
And how do you prove that?
Well,
By
no,
looking
it's
at them.
height by weight by some
Yeah, I
other
know.
factor. And it's why my insurance company won't, no matter how good my health has been, my insurance company won't give me any more insurance.
Yeah.
Life insurance.
Life insurance, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they use a BMI. So I sent them a letter stating how the BMI has been discredited and proved inaccurate in court and all this stuff. And I'm lucky I still have the life insurance I have.
Another reason for you to yell at somebody in your office on the phone.
Oh no, I give my union hell all the time.
Oh.
They're fun. That I know the guy you call up to give help to. He's like, okay, are you calling me just to give me a hard time, or you got a
Or
problem?
are you just bored today?
I'm like, well, back to this whole, if we keep rewarding people that don't do their job right, I'm going to have an issue. And it's going to be me going to jail for beating the guy half to death.
Gosh, I there isn't much more to suck out of this article about Parky, but it is odd to think of something lifting up your car and driving off.
Well,
with
it'd be
it.
just the front end it lifts up.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
it's just
yeah,
like a stinger on a tow truck.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and then they can maneuver it wherever they want.
They've got a car unit they use in Europe that it's a narrow deck and the whole thing goes right down to
Yep.
about that high, and it slides right under the car, lifts the entire car,
Oh,
so it's now on a flatbed type device. And that is in very small European roads where you can get half a car parked.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the tow truck they use.
But the scarier part of that is that it has access to
the
all your information, including the DMV.
Apparently.
Therefore, they know that you don't company in the United States.
That
Yeah,
are bad
no,
tags and automatically calls you out.
It does ask some very interesting privacy questions.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
So
I mean, maybe they don't, because maybe you being a licensed driver is public information, but your insurance status is not public
But it
info.
would include your address, probably your telephone number, because everything is, it would include everything.
I think you're right to be skeptical. It would definitely warrants a lot more investigation of this identifying license. Just the fact they put it in there, right?
Yeah.
Like they didn't have to say that. They could say they have a way to identify the car you're driving. They didn't have to say we can read your license plate. Aren't they trying to sell this idea?
well, they might be in trouble with Alberta vehicles because we don't need a front license plate either. You got to have it off the back.
Yeah,
Well,
they're doing that to
Arizona's
us,
the
too.
same
They're
way.
taking away our front
Yeah.
license plate.
Anyway, you're in real trouble when it comes up to pick up your car and it says, "Have you taken baby Billy out of his carrier yet?"
Right. Or back to the insurance question. I mean, a very valid use, if it did have access to that, it could refuse to park your car. It could say, this system works on the notion that you have an insured vehicle.
Found your car.
That's what I'm saying.
Well-
In the compound.
I'm looking at realistic, real life scenarios. I wouldn't find it surprising at all that they got great insurance rates, because the premise is that you show up with insurance.
Yeah.
The thing checks your license plate, sees you don't have insurance, and refuses to park your car because it can't be liable for something that might happen to it because you don't have insurance.
Be interesting if it could read European plates too, because people drive in Canada with German plates and so on.
Well,
It'd have to do its work with
and-
accent marks.
And any anomaly, they just do the same thing. They just say, "Nope, can't park this one.
Park it.
Mhm.
Sorry."
We had an interesting
Can't
experience
find it, bring it back.
in Old San Juan when we were in Puerto Rico. The people we were staying with are like, we got to go, we got to get there early, otherwise we can't get in, which was an odd thought. You'd not be able to get into a city, but we had another member of our party, somebody's fiance, that was going to meet us there in the afternoon. He took too long to get there, and he spent 2 hours because it's a tourist destination. It's like going to Disneyland. It took like 2 hours to get into this area of the island and then drive around to all the public parking facilities, because they're building facilities. They don't have on-street parking. And they're all full, literally all full. He turned around and drove back the hour distance to where he comes from, because there was literally no place to park a car. And that's a standard story in Old San Juan, Puerto Rico. It's so full of tourists that are driving. There's so many people that need to park a car that if you don't get there earlier, you don't have a place to put your car.
Well, so much for parking.
All right. I don't know if that was a tech topic, but it was definitely a parking
Well, tech is robots.
robots.
I saw another article this morning that Toyota or somebody has developed robots that can learn manipulation quickly. like to teach a robot to, make a pancake is very difficult. And they've got it hooked up to the extended arms that you use, and you run it through the motions a couple times, more than a couple. But it says very few demonstrations to the robot. Let it sit overnight and generate its code.
AI.
And in the morning,
Yeah.
it'll be able to perform that task. So it's very easy to teach a robot a new task.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And
I wonder if that would work with AI, where you'd be able to define the articulations of a particular robot and then mimic those articulations through human action on video, and then feed it the video to learn what it would be potentially able to do with its limited articulations. I wonder if it could come up with a list of things that it could do.
Their ultimate goal is to teach it how to make a pancake and have it extrapolate to how to make an over easy egg without them teaching it how to make.
Or like make Japanese pancakes and extrapolate how to make meringue from that process. Like, you don't want the pancake, you just want the meringue. That, like whipping up the eggs.
Yep.
Yeah, that's interesting. But we don't have an article about that, Bill. Where's the article? Give me a link.
No, I don't want to.
Fine.
Ask Bard to create.
Yeah.
Ask Bard to create one.
Just whole cloth. Ask
Not-
Bard to just
it's
write
not
the
Bard
article for
anymore.
us. It's
Not?
Gemini.
At Gemini, I have Bard on my top bar on the laptop, and I go along and, what the hell's this Gemini? Where's Bard? Show me Bard. So I asked for Bard. I got Gemini over here.
Right. In fact, it's been kind of interesting. I've been listening to them talk about the reviews of it. I don't think we are seeing, with this free version, we're seeing what they're seeing. Apparently, the professional version that is competitively priced against ChatGPT for $20 a month has insane performance and accuracy that we are not seeing in the free version.
Oh, no doubt.
One of the I don't have an article either, but I was listening.
Oh, wait a minute. You can't give me a bad time.
Well, I was listening to some podcasts, and these journalists were talking about one of the most notable differences in this Gemini reorganization is how much faster accurate results are coming out of it than ChatGPT. And these are comparing the paid products, the $20 at ChatGPT versus the $20 at Google. Apparently, you get some other stuff with the stuff at Google. I wish I had an article, because I was caught off guard to hear that there's some amount of storage and services that you get to take advantage of for that same price. It's like they've included the pro version of Gemini in its like Google One package. Like, when you've reached that point, you're paying that much, Gemini comes with it. That's kind of the impression I got. Don't hold me to it. I need to do some research, but that's kind of what I heard these guys on the podcast talking about. If that was the case, I think it would be a real seller if you just added on to some of these services. Like we've talked about Microsoft Office. Nobody needs to buy Office software anymore. It's free in all different directions. But if you buy the terabyte of space from Microsoft, then you get their Office package. And that seems like a real decent deal. They could add a couple extra dollars a year to that Office package and say, well, now we're throwing in ChatGPT, or Copilot is what they're calling it, Copilot Pro.
By the way, you did not say hi to Chester.
Chester, we're so happy to have you here.
Buenos dias.
Good morning.
Oh, stop.
Hey, have you brought any topics for us? Because I'm just rattling on about stuff that I don't have any links to. You got a topic this week?
Nope, not a thing.
Nope.
Thank you.
All right.
Miss your car pictures, Chester.
Well, my camera didn't.
Desktop.
Somehow or another, it didn't show my laptop. My what do you call it? Wallpaper. It didn't show my wallpaper this morning. I don't know
Maybe
why.
it'll show him. Maybe his camera's working again.
Well, his camera hasn't worked for a long time.
Yeah, my camera hasn't worked for a long time.
Oh, we can hear you well.
Yeah, this is the only need I have for a camera because otherwise I never use it.
Well, we're happy to have you with us. We've got 6 in Tequilas. We're doing an in-person meeting, and we've got you and Jim online. And what were we rattling on about? These AIs, Chat GPT. Oh, and the services. I think they're trying to get people to pay $20 a month. I think somebody like me doing the kind of work I'm doing could find some real value in that. But I have a lot of trouble seeing just normal people getting into that. It seems like what's much more likely is they'll add it as one more service on something that you're already ready to pay for. So maybe add $1 and you've got AI in its pro form. We'll see what happens because Copilot is getting stuck in everything. I mean, pretty soon you buy a computer, it comes with Copilot. Microsoft announced that they want to put a new button on the keyboard. First new button in, 30 years. They want to put a Chat GPT button. They want to put an AI button on the keyboard so that there's a button that you can just press and it'll bring it up in a voice fashion so you don't have to touch anything else. And last week I brought up the Rabbit R1. I'm still thinking that's where all this is going. We're going to have small devices that we carry around with us, and they're going to be very voice accurate, both for giving you information and for receiving information. They're going to be very accurate for using their camera to look at items and then be able to ask questions about them. And they're going to make phone calls at the same time. And I think that's really where we're going. I think we're going to go back to a candy bar size phone that we don't care whether we can see the screen because the information comes so easily and quickly being talked to. There'll be a screen. I mean, it doesn't have to be a candy bar. I just think it'll be possible to get along with it with just a candy bar. Maybe you can put one of those Pico projectors in it, so when you actually need a screen, you can go to a wall and point the candy bar at it, and it can project it for you.
Point it in your retina.
Right? Or maybe you could combine it with a vaporizer so you can get high while you're looking, and it can just project 3D into the smoke of cloud that you're blowing out.
Now you're getting really wild.
No, have it project through your glasses.
Oh yeah, or of course your glasses. What am I thinking? Of course your glasses. That's absolutely where we're going with this stuff. If you've been watching the Vision Pro, the big question is why would you pay $3,000 more than the leading competitor in that space just because it comes from Apple? Did you notice that they don't have a YouTube app yet? So these Apple headsets, these VR headsets, do they even call it VR? It seems like they have another name for it.
Just Pro,
Augmented
Vision
reality.
Pro or something.
No, it's not augmented. Augmented is what they're going for.
Yeah.
Microsoft calls it mixed reality.
Yeah.
What does Apple call it? It seems like Apple's got their own version, something they're calling it. But Apple wants to do augmented reality, and they can't. And so this is the best that they can do so far. And they have these amazing components that have been put together that people are so impressed with.
Yeah.
You listen to any of these reviews, and the reviewers all state it exactly like this. This is the best of this class product that has ever existed. And some of them go into details about the displays. Apparently, the pixels are so small that the lines are invisible to the naked eye. Like you don't have the capacity to focus on a pixel because it's so small. The screen technology they've used is completely state of the art. The only place you see them is this close to your eyes right now. And they don't have what they would like. They'd like to have you wear a pair of glasses that you look through and you see reality and it gets superimposed upon. But that's not a great experience right now, and they're working towards that. So what they've come up with is the best displays to put in front of your eyes that has ever existed. But then they have this thing called pass-through, which allows you to look at reality through the device. And I've heard criticisms that it does not look real enough. That, like, yes, you could walk around, you could walk into a 7-Eleven, or you could go pump gas wearing one of these, but it's a little disorienting, and it is not reality. The way it has been reproduced in the headset still leaves you with this kind of uncanny experience with the reality and this whole augmented idea. And it's $3,500. So no normal person is buying this stuff. And at the same time, it looks like, let me add one other thing to that has already been solved by Facebook, is if you are a glasses wearer, you have to buy special prescription glass lenses that gets inserted into.
Yeah, well, that would make sense.
So that you
can focus.
It's like the inserts in your dive mask.
Yeah.
Whereas with the how come I can't remember the name of the Facebook one now? Oculus. That's it. With the Oculus. Yeah, and it's not the Oculus. It's a Quest. It's a Vision Quest. Damn it! It's a Quest 3. I'm talking about. The Oculus fell apart. No, it's the Quest. They have standard inserts, magnifying inserts. So you get just all these different options that you can use to fix your. And I saw a great video that was this tongue-in-cheek comparison between it and the HoloLens. And they're like, we never had that problem. This is Microsoft. We never had that problem with our HoloLens because you can just wear your glasses under the HoloLens. They just made room for them. But that product, if you remember, that was a pass-through product that you were viewing real life, and they were augmenting on top of it. You were passing through glass. And the problem with the Quest, I don't know why I want to say Oculus, the Quest and the Apple Vision Pro is, for it to be effective, it has to be cupped to your eyes so no light gets in, for you to have the experience that they want to guarantee. So you have to strap it tight to your face like a scuba mask, and instead of water, you're keeping light out, and so your whole experience is those screens in front of you. The other thing that they've done, which is odd, because they so want to have glasses on your head, they created an avatar of eyes that pop out the front. You guys have probably seen some of the pictures. You're wearing something that looks like ski goggles, but they're blinking at you.
Like the pizza delivery robot.
Yeah. And they're supposed to be based on your eyes, and creepily, they are. Like the eyes you see on Bill are somewhat a digital version of Bill's eyes.
So if I wink, it winks?
Yes, that's kind of the idea. But not only that, the eyes they're seeing are dimensioned to look similar to your eyes. So my eyes look different than your eyes on the outside of this device. The other thing that people have talked about that they say is so very impressive is that when somebody comes towards you, they phase into your world. So like if I were to get within a foot or two of Bill and start talking to him, and he looked over at me, my face would appear in his virtual reality as this like ghost kind of image, because there's cameras on the outside, and so it's seeing what's on the outside. So you're having your VR experience, and I come to talk to you, my face, like the face of God, comes out of the clouds to talk to you. But all of this stuff, whether it's a criticism or something amazing, it all falls under the same account of this is the best this kind of product has ever been done. But it's still $3,000 more expensive than its competing product. And what it's done is it's really pointed out how the competing product is pretty good.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it doesn't do some of this other stuff they're talking about, but it's actually re-shined a focus on what Facebook is doing for only $500. And it kind of legitimizes this whole area. I keep seeing a message running out of time.
11 minutes.
11 minutes? Okay. If people just help me not forget. that we're
Judy
gonna
and I are
switch
both
over.
here.
Well, on with the augmented reality. I've talked with you about this before, where they're looking at using it in the construction industry so that everything's mapped out. When you go to a site and you start digging in, it'll show you how deep you're digging in the area you have to do, where all the wires and pipes and everything. We're actually using that on a project this year. We've done one other project at the Birchwood Airport there outside of Anchorage, where they mapped everything and used an augmented reality visor on the inspector. And we're working with one of our GPS companies, AccuPoint, on that.
So the GPS is accurate enough that you could, like, the blueprint is in the goggles?
Well, we're down to a
basically?
10th of a foot.
Hmm?
10th of a foot.
10th of a foot.
That's GPS standard.
Well, that's good enough for some carpenters.
Yeah, and well, on a 250 Hitachi excavator, I mean, it's plenty of room, because you just dig down and you can see. I got to look at it. Our guy, tech guy in survey that's running it, every time he gets a new toy, he calls me in. But as the excavator digs in, all of a sudden this panel here will go from blue to red. Red means that's your dig limit.
Yeah.
Then as you go down, you hit your red
Another
dig
one,
limit below, and he knows exactly how big this dig out's supposed to be without guesswork or the grade checker coming in with the GPS unit and checking his work.
Which means the highly skilled operator is going to be replaced by just somebody that can push the levers.
No. You got to make that bucket do what you want it to,
Yeah.
and that's where the highly skilled excavator.
But the skill comes also from knowing your elevation.
Yeah.
In your bucket.
Yeah,
Intuitive.
it sounds like one more sophisticated tool
Yeah.
for people that know how to use them. You remember we did the wall builder? We did that article on the wall builder. You just stick this robot next to a pile of rocks and it builds a wall for you.
Oh yeah.
That's amazing.
Well,
Yeah, we're running out of old people, the old guys can do that.
Well, I come from farming irrigation country, flood. So they used to level a lot of the land. They would bring in the big dirt machines and they scrape off the topsoil, put it over here, and then they level, and then they put the topsoil back on. The person who put the topsoil back on was the most skilled operator in the place. He was the highest paid. Only now you got the laser sitting up here that puts your blade on grade no matter what. So all they have is some flunky. He just drives back and forth now.
Right.
You don't need that highly skilled guy anymore.
Oh no, you need the highly skilled guy. I mean, I work with this, and the guys on the dozers and graders with the GPSs, if they're not good, they cannot use that GPS tool.
I'd like to state, as a highly skilled guy, you always need a highly skilled guy.
Sure.
There's never a time you don't need somebody highly skilled. I want you all to keep that in mind.
Then you wind up with that inspector standing there going, "You're doing it wrong."
Yeah.
It's the managers we can do without.
There we go.
Well, the other article that I have is a little stale. It's from the end of last month, but it's really Microsoft's opinion of Apple's new App Store rules. And I don't know if you guys, we've talked a little bit about it, but if you haven't been paying attention to it, they have been forced into a position to do something different in the European Union than in the United States. And I wager they're doing it for spite only, because it's got to be costing them a lot more money than if they would just apply the same rules everywhere. But they have been forced in the European Union to open up their platform to third-party app stores. And so they have...
That's the helicopter that's been flying over our meetings.
That's the helicopter.
Leonardo's here.
Leonardo?
Isn't that what they say? That it's Leonardo DiCaprio's
Oh,
helicopter?
Or Victor Orsini.
Or
yeah.
who? Victor.
Actors. It's a turtle, but some stuff's really wrong with that road.
Yeah, I was going to say that kind of tongue. Might not make it.
So Microsoft's criticizing them because what they want to do is they want to put a game store in the app store of your Apple so that they can you can play Xbox games through their service. You can have a subscription through their service, and Apple doesn't charge them 30% just because they're in the store. So that's where Microsoft is coming from. Is they've got this all ready to go, but they can't be in the Apple store given Apple's terms of service. The EU has, and Microsoft's the most forward facing in this, but there's just dozens and dozens of other examples of app stores out there and apps specifically that are fighting for this right to be on your phone without having to go through the curator of Apple. And Apple has always had a position of the reason this is also expensive is because what we do is curation, protection, security, and privacy. And there's just a whole market of people out there going, yeah, but I want to look at porn and I want to play my video games. And yeah, I want to download a torrent and I own this. How dare you tell me what I decide that I want to put on my phone or not? Tim Cook has that famous line where he's asked by a reporter, how do I have a good chat experience with my mom if she's on an Android and I'm on an iPhone? And he's basically buy her an iPhone.
Yeah, buy her.
Yeah.
And so the European Union doesn't like that kind of approach to things, and they have regulated Apple into a position where Apple is creating a whole different piece of software for its European customers so that they can have access to third-party app stores under the European Union's regulations. But they're going to maintain exactly business as usual in the United States and all other areas of the globe that they can continue to do the same. So this is a European Union influenced decision that Apple is making sure does not influence us in Canada, Mexico, the United States, these places where they don't have to be subject to European
Apple caved
regulation
on the lightning cord.
They didn't cave.
Well,
they were forced.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, they were. And the reason we've got USB-C on the iPhone 15 is because of the European Union.
Yes.
They can't afford
Let's
that kind
not
of
forget,
loss.
unless you have their cable or a specifically licensed by Apple cable, which
It
are
won't
two
work.
countries, you don't get fast charge
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
iPhone 15.
Yeah, you have to have
But that's always
licensed.
kind of been the case. It's like
It has always
my
been the
iPad,
case.
if I don't use the Apple,
Hmm.
if I use the one that you recommended with the magnetic,
Yeah.
Well, that's a
different.
whole nother
Yeah, the
another
magnetic one's new. Will
Yeah.
Now,
because that has its own limitations. But outside of that, but I'll give you an example. The new iPhones support wireless charging since at least the 11. I think it was
The 10.
The 10 has wireless as well. And what's different between wireless charging and MagSafe charging is that MagSafe has a magnet standard built into it, so it snaps on the back of a MagSafe phone. Theoretically. Qi charging is the exact same standard without the magnet. And if I put an iPhone on a Qi charger, it will only charge at 8 watts because that Qi charger didn't pay the licensing to be a MagSafe charger. Whereas if it's on a MagSafe charger, it'll charge at 15 watts. Whereas an iPhone, what's that?
2 minutes.
Oh, 2 minutes. Whereas if I put an Android phone on it, it'll charge as high as it can because
my MagSafe chargers never seem to want to work at all with my phone. Without me taking the case off, and I refused.
well, that's a case. You can get a case that's
I know.
MagSafe certified
Well,
because of that issue.
yes.
Yeah.
But
But that's
it
an
doesn't
example of
click on.
like they blatantly slow down how fast I can charge my iPhone because I didn't buy a MagSafe charger. I bought a Qi charger. Well, that's Qi 2 has come in line with MagSafe now, and they're basically the same thing. So we're hoping that it won't be slowed down simply because they haven't paid a licensing to have a chip put into the device. But
Under a minute.
okay, we gotta go. We got to go to the next meeting. Anybody out there listening, start making your way over to our next meeting. I'm going to open it up now. We're waiting for this to start.
Get it ready.
It's such a smooth transition compared to the other day.
So most of the charging stuff I buy, my cables, my chargers, my power strips, it's the same company. They've all paid that license to
Yeah.
Apple. And they paid the license to Apple so that when Apple releases their stuff, they've already got stuff on the market.
And pay the staff.
Anchor? Yeah, they've got some of the best cables on the market. I just bought I forget the model. Charge. Oh yeah, no, it will charge my laptop, my iPad, and my phone at the proper amperage up to its limit.
You should bring that in next
I'll
week.
bring that in next week. It's a super cool device. It's kind of big and heavy, but
it monitors how much current is being used by these
Yeah.
devices to make sure, and tells you where you're at, whether you're getting close to maxing it or not.
Oh, and I got a new travel device.
Show that off.
It's a power strip with 2 plugs and 2 USB-Cs. It has the Anchor IQ Smart Charge software in it, and it's small, compact. You're everybody's buddy at the airport when there's one power plug and you've got this thing. Yeah, it's also a quarter of the size of the old charging block I used to carry for that purpose. And then for in the trailer, I've just got, it's cruise ship certified, so there's no surge protector in it. But I found just a little plug-in unit. You plug it in the wall, and that's your surge protector.
Wow.
Yeah.
That would be good too for hotels. Everything.
Yeah. The power strip that I buy on a regular basis, the big one, and I've brought them down for him too. Same thing. They've got really good surge protection in the power strip.
The surge protectors, I give out surge protectors as presents all the time because they need to be replaced. They just wear out.
Mine's old, so
Yeah.
probably-
Yeah, I just went through and replaced all mine not too long ago.
If you've got the budget for it, you should replace them on a schedule, because most surge protectors, there's no way to tell how much has been used up. And so it could still be reporting that it's good, but it may be only good for 200 joules or worse, 50 joules. Because it may have been getting surged most of its life using up that finite material. Until it's all used up, it will continue to say it's protection. And as soon as that light's not lit, then you know you got to replace the surge protector. But replacing them on a schedule is really the most sensible way to do it. I've had this for 3 years plugged into the wall. It's time to get another one.
Well, not all surge protectors have a light that shows you that the surge protector's working. It's just
But
on.
all the surge protectors that are recommended in this club have an indicator.
Yeah.
Because that's a bad surge protector
Well,
that you're
the Anchor
indicating.
lights, the Anchor's power
If
strips
there's
have that.
no light, you shouldn't be using it as a surge
Yeah.
protector. Even though they exist, they're never.
Well, we just had a deal with the DOT office I work in. Somebody bought like 50 surge protect power strips. And I looked at them. I'm like, these aren't surge protected. Well, it says they are. I'm like, no, look at the thing here. It's not surge protected.
Yeah.
It's just somebody didn't know what to look for.
Did it say it on the on the unit? Did it say surge protected right on the unit?
Well, you read the box and it infers it's surge protected until you start reading the technical information.
I think it's not that hard to find a surge protector. If it doesn't say surge protector, it's not a surge protector. If it doesn't have a protection light on it, it's not a surge protector. If it doesn't state at least 1,500 joules, you shouldn't be looking at it as a surge protector. It's just not worth the money. Really good surge protector. Say again?
Do you use them up in the States too?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is definitely less concern, but there's still a concern for surge surge electricity can happen in any environments. In fact, around here, one of the other things that we recommend often is a voltage regulator. And that's that box that you see around here that will drop voltage or raise voltage depending on what the circumstances are.
And what did you say again was the minimum joules that you should?
I would say 1,500. It's just not worth getting into anything because your equipment being solid state devices aren't pulling a lot of current to begin with. So hopefully any kind of regular surging is just minimal. And so that'll give that surge protector a long life. But it also will, if there was like a lightning strike, that's a large coverage. That 1,500 is a large coverage of. Now, I like to look for things that are 1,750 or 2,000 joules, but those are definitely related to price, so that you end up paying more the more protection you end up buying. Chester, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I was going to comment on the voltage protection, and particularly in Mexico, where most of the time your voltage is higher than it should be. It's higher than 120 or 240.
The regulator.
And so I had a whole house regulator many years ago, and I assume it's still working. But it protected everything on 110. It just didn't protect 220.
Yeah. Well, and I think even those whole house voltage regulators, they recommended at the level of your computer to still have protection.
Well, for voltage, not so much voltage regulator, but surge.
For surge protection.
Yeah.
Yeah. In that respect, what we normally would recommend is a voltage regulator and then plug a surge protector into it. And the reason being that if the voltage regulator is invoked because you have low voltage or high voltage, then you have a naturally occurring surge when that regulator switches to high or low. And so you want to have a surge protector on that so that you're not possibly surging your equipment. But that's all Mexican solutions. What's that, Jim?
I wondered if they could be put in series. Would that?
They do. Those products exist.
Light conditioner.
In Mexico, they're called no breaks. They have a voltage regulator and surge protection built into them. I guess you can get them without surge protection, but you can get them with surge protection built into them. And it's all right. It's just how you're budgeting things and your replacement costs, how often you're going to have to service that. Those devices typically come with a battery, and they end up being upwards of $100 US, like 2,000 pesos and higher. Whereas a voltage regulator typically is about like a 250 peso item, and a surge protector is right around the same price. And so for very cheap, you can get good protection with the two devices. And if one goes bad and the other one doesn't, then you only have to buy the other one. Where are we at? This article from Microsoft is just chastising Apple for its choice of how they're going to deal with this open market. I don't think this open market thing is going to last very long. I don't think it's going to be restricted to the European Union too long, because what I think is going to happen is web browsers like Chrome and Firefox are going to be able to have their native versions on your platform. They're going to be able to show and express features that include things like battery savings, reading versions, things that people are really interested in, that are going to force Apple to up its game with Safari. So we should get a better version of Safari out of this, even if it is happening in the European Union. That will have an influence on our American politics, asking for Apple to come into alignment with what they're doing in the rest of the world by giving us the choices we don't already have. So I don't suspect Apple's going to play this for as long as they can, but I think the long term, they're going to end up having to do the same thing in the United States anyway.
So I guess if you're in Europe, you should buy one there.
It's not about the device in this case, Jim, but that is a good distinction to make clear. It's about the software. It's about the operating system that they're putting on the device. And so I would imagine you would not be able to take advantage of, because it's an insignificant change. What they're going to do is they're going to create it so that other app stores can exist on the phone. So that other app store will probably be an app in the current app store. And then you're allowed to install that app in your iPad or iPhone. And now you can use that app to install other apps. And the big difference between Europe and the United States is they're not going to include those app stores in their app store. Does that make sense? So I'm imagining that it's not so much getting your phone from Europe as maybe resetting your phone and using a VPN to set it up so that you appear to be in Europe. To help you wrap your head around what kind of change we're talking about. I think that you could end up with a phone that open sitting right here with a VPN into Europe and a phone that was bought in the United States. If that helps make it clear.
Yeah. We're just heading over to England. I was wondering if there's an advantage of doing something while I was there.
Well, I think those are good thoughts to have. The one example of that I can think of is the Chinese iPhone is very different from the US iPhone. They have, well, it was up until recently. I think, gosh, yeah, this stuff happens so fast. I'm realizing what I'm about to say is old information. But there was a period of time where we couldn't do eSIMs and SIM chips in our iPhones, and China was the first one that was able to do it, and it had to do with the way China does their systems, and they have that government oversight of their information. So something about the technology was that way, and I think that's still true. I think it's China that has the dual eSIMs now. But I think, didn't 15 bring out dual eSIMs? I think they had dual eSIMs before the 15. The 15's the first time we've had them in this part of the world.
What's going to happen to my SE?
What's that?
What will happen to my? People have told me that I should get an eSIM when I'm there in Europe, and but our phone is only an SE. I was wondering if it would work there.
Oh, is it the 2020 SE? While we're here, I'll do a quick Google.
I don't know.
I think that it's dual, but let's find out. Phone SE 2020. It's either 2020 or 2022. Which do you think it is?
Well, it's mine's probably the 2020.
Okay, 2020. Dual.
Let me get you yours.
SIM. I don't remember. It is dual SIM, nano SIM, and eSIM. So you do have an eSIM in the 2020.
Oh, good. So we could change it to do British phoning and all that.
Yeah, you might. I don't know. Maybe this isn't the correct advice. In my mind, my way of thinking, I had my eSIM set up on AT&T in the United States, and my SIM card set up by Telmex. And the reason was because Telmex are idiots in the office, and I wanted to have the lowest common denominator of customer support I had to in Mexico. That was my thinking. I think if I lived in the States, I'd do exactly the same thing. I would have AT&T be the eSIM, just like I do now. If I lived in the States, and I would get the SIM card. And I think that's what I would suggest to you, Jim, in Canada. I would have my Canadian system on my eSIM and then get a SIM card in England when you're there.
Oh,
Whether you keep the service or not is up to you, but it can be removed simply by pulling the card out and throwing it away.
well, that we're used to changing the cards when we go to Mexico, but then we lose the other one. So this way we'd have both, right?
Yeah, if you with the dual SIMs, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's how I roll too. My iPhone's got both US and Mexico service on it. And it's nice too because you can balance between data contracts. My Mexican data contract allows us to do WhatsApp and Facebook and Instagram all for free. Twitter or X, I guess it's the app formerly known as Twitter. The American plan doesn't do that, but the Mexican plan gives me 3 gigs of data and the American plan gives me 16. So I'm constantly swapping back and forth what I'm using for data based on what my activity is.
I have AT&T and I don't have a Mexican SIM card and everything works for free here.
Yeah, I got 16 gigs.
Yeah, so why would you switch?
Well, because I don't have to dig into the 16 gigs when I can Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, and communicate for nothing on my Mexican plan. It doesn't count towards the data plan on your Mexican plan.
But your AT&T
I'm from Alaska, and they want to
isn't,
charge me a fortune
unlimited?
to use AT&T down
If-
here.
No, I don't have any problems using AT&T down here. It's an international. It doesn't charge me any extra.
No.
It comes down to the amount of data that you're using. And when you use Telmex for Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, it doesn't count towards your data plan. In the United States, it all counts towards your data plan.
Okay, our data plan is unlimited.
So is mine.
So you don't have like a 16 gig
No.
cap
No, it's
on your
unlimited.
data.
It's unlimited on both
It's-
phones, unlimited texting, unlimited calls, and unlimited data.
Exactly.
So what do you pay for that?
$85 a month for 2 phones. Two
And mine
unlimited.
is 50 for one.
I pay $108 a month for one.
Wow.
Yeah.
I pay $300 a year
Yeah, if I bought it
for
outside of Alaska,
international and 16 gigs of data. $300 a year.
300 a year. So
Yes.
that's what a month. Is it
20
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the 80 in Canada, the prices are absolutely unbelievable.
I wonder
cell
why
phones.
Alaska though, AT&T is AT&T.
Yeah, why is it limited
Nope,
to
they hate us.
No, it's not limited. It's
It's-
$300 a year.
it costs
Yeah.
5
To have
times in
unlimited
Alaska what it costs to
texting,
put a tower up in the
phone calls, and
I
Canada
know, we're
in North
torturing them
America,
right now
Canada,
over this, and I'm like, come on, guys.
Mexico, and the United
I can
States.
get your
Yeah.
break just
It's
lower
only
my service.
$300 a year.
But it's $300 a year, and it's limited to
Not
16 gigs.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's what
Oh,
I meant.
if I got my
Yeah.
phone in the States, and
If
I
I
had a lower
paid,
48
if I
phone
paid
number,
$50 to $80 a
$40 or
month,
$50.
It's unlimited.
then it would
and I
be
can use it in
unlimited.
Alaska,
But who needs
I like
that?
that
I
in
actually
Alaska
only
phone
need
number.
like 3 gigs of
It's
data.
also the same
Yeah.
phone number.
In
I've
fact,
had
my
since
Telmex
2000.
is less than that. My Telmex is like less than 400 pesos a month.
So is mine.
Yeah.
With
Because-
fiber.
Or I'm sorry, Telcel. I didn't mean
Oh,
Telcel.
Telmex.
my
400 with
Telcel-
fiber.
Is like 368 pesos a month. And you get these services for free across it, mostly because Zuckerberg and at the time Twitter, it made this deal of that archive that
Telmex could, or Telcel.
yeah, they basically financed Telcel providing their products for free to the third world. That's
Well, when my girlfriend was
everywhere.
here for 10 days, she bought a SIM card,
Mhm.
and it wasn't called Telmex. It was called something else.
Telcel.
It-
Telcel.
No,
It could be
had nothing-
Movistar. It could be we have Nextel here as well. I think-
Movistar always used to be great. Was my first.
Movistar,
Mexican
yeah, that was
cell
my
phone.
first. But you can
Anyway,
go
she
in.
left
You
it
can
with me, so I
It's
can
like the
use
Amigo
it if I
card I
wanted
get.
to.
you
gotta
can
put
buy
it
a
on
SIM for
Mhm.
like $2.50.
Yeah, it
You
wasn't very
can
much.
you can put 150 pesos of
Mhm.
service on it,
Yeah.
and then you can do unlimited WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Facebook, Instagram, right? So that's all somebody coming into town needs. They just
Mhm.
get that.
That's what she did. She
Mhm.
put it in her iPhone.
Well, that's what we're doing later
Used it.
today.
Yeah, I mean, if she wants to surf web pages or look at YouTube, that cuts into the data plan.
Well, it was hard. Like she would hook to our Wi-Fi. at
Sure.
home.
Yeah.
But the calls weren't going through to Canada inside the building as well as they were outside. So that's got to do with.
So she's got Wi-Fi
So-
calling too, so
Yeah.
she's
Yeah,
able to do
she
those
did.
calls
Yeah.
through your
Yeah.
Wi-Fi.
She turned the Wi-Fi on.
Yeah.
But,
Because I do all my calling for AT&T on Wi-Fi calling down here, and then I have the Telcel Amigo card.
Amigo,
And that-
that's
yeah.
what it was.
Okay, yeah, and that's I drop 250 pesos,
hmm
and I've got unlimited text, phone,
For a
Meta,
month or something.
All the Meta
28
apps,
days.
you know,
28 days.
28
Yeah,
I
she
get
told me a
10
month. Yeah.
gigs for the 250 pesos. It was 10 gigs or 8 gigs. 8 gigs.
Yeah, whenever
It was
I
8
hear those
gigs
questions,
and
I think it's the lower answer.
Yeah.
It's always less.
Well,
than
I
you were
keep thinking
expecting.
it's 10 and it's 8.
Yeah.
It's just- but that's been the easiest route the last few years. And if I would remember to do it and just do a reoccurring 10 peso charge on my credit card
You would.
on the website, I would keep that number.
Yeah.
For as long as that card's in my phone and I keep making that reoccurring payment.
Not only that, you could download the app and you could set up that reoccurring through the app. So you wouldn't even have to get on the
procrastination
website.
is a horrible thing. Because I'll forget to do it, and then it gets shoved in the back of my head while I'm at work, and then I forget to do it, and then I come down here and I get another card.
Yeah, do it while we're talking. So
Right
do
this
it
minute.
right now. Actually, we got to go get him the sim.
Yeah.
We go back on our card about a year later and it still fires up.
Yeah, do you make sure that you're keeping it up to date, paying the monthly,
No,
or does it just expire?
We've just gone back and to put it in the phone and tried to carry on as if we're normal, and it just takes the money.
How long are you away? Wait, how
Up
long
to a
is
year.
it?
It's been up to a year.
It's been up to a year? Because
Yeah.
Sid has not had that luck. We've tried to bring in a card from the year before, and it's too late. He's got to get
Yeah.
another card.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When I had Movie Star and I did that same thing, it was always good.
Yeah.
I didn't have Telcel.
Yeah,
I
that's
had Movie Star and it was always good. I would leave, come back, charge the phone, work.
that's interesting. Yeah, no, we haven't had that experience. Because you were keeping it up for a while.
Well, the first couple of years we kept it. I kept it
Yeah.
up. I got the reoccurring payment in, and then I forgot what happened, and we wound up getting another one. And well, that was last year.
Yeah, no, it was like we went to him
Oh,
with,
I remember
with the
what
phone
happened.
number.
COVID.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, COVID screwed it up.
What
That's
happened?
right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It
that's how,
wasn't a year. It was 2 years.
Yeah. that's how I got to take 3 months off from work one year. It was like, well, you're gonna lay me off, huh? Okay, well, I got enough leave to go from here to there to the day you lay me off. Yeah, my boss was really not happy with me about that one.
All right, guys. Do we have more topics? We've been talking phones. We had a couple of articles. We're getting towards the. We're actually past our. Aren't we past? I thought we were past. I have a timer. Yeah, we're way over our hour by 20 minutes. Anybody want to make some recommendations before we call this meeting over? I see Cheryl's got her hand up since 3 weeks. She's been having her hand up.
Well, I mentioned that I had a couple that I would not recommend, and
that's
I found
right.
them. You
The
hurt
anti-list
you hurt my feelings. It's
movie.
Julia, a movie.
Yeah.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
I'm going to put this
Yeah.
under don't watch.
Yes. Well,
A new category.
it was the strangest movie because it was a glimpse into the life of a family, but it didn't go anywhere. Like most things have a plot, a problem that has to be solved or something. This was just a look at, he said something that hurt her feelings, and that's about it. It was the strangest movie we've ever watched. So
That sounds like this TV show that I started one time. Never went anywhere. It was called The Slap.
The Slap.
Yeah, and it was
Oh.
all the drama that came after somebody got slapped. That was the premise of the show.
Yeah.
And it went
At
into
the
the
Oscars?
backgrounds.
Are you sure that's not the news?
Yeah. Just
It went into the background of each one of the characters. It was all centered around the same period of time, like the same 6 hours.
Yeah.
But then they would go and do this full background of each one of the characters. What led to the slap? What happened after the slap? As you can imagine, it was canceled by its second season.
Yeah.
It went a whole season.
It went a whole season.
The other one was called The Oranges, and it's supposed to be a comedy
Well,
romance.
hold on, don't leave this too quickly. This
Okay,
is
sorry.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Is that
yes.
right?
Yes.
Fairly new, 2023.
23 movie. I'm trying to see where the reviews are of it, but
It's got a 6 out of 10 on IMDb.
not by my
Some
word.
people don't have anything to do with their lives.
Yeah. It just was a strange movie.
Oh wow, it got 94% on Rotten Tomatoes.
What?
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
I can't tell whether that's a critic or a audience review. Let me see here. Oh yeah. Critics 94%, audience 64%.
Yeah.
This is just Rotten Tomatoes again telling us we're all Neanderthals.
Well, she's saying not to watch it. That sounds quite high still.
Yeah, 60. Well, the other one that I'm going to tell you
Well, it
about.
just tells you that Cheryl's out of step with the world.
That's right, Cheryl.
Yeah.
I trust
You're
her
a
opinion more than the
provocateur
world's
of
opinion.
criticizing movies.
Well, the other one is called
The other don't watch.
The Oranges. It's a 2011. It says comedy romance, but we didn't find it funny. And it's not a romance. It's an older man having an affair with his best friend's daughter. And it's
Wow, and they titled that a romance.
yes, 31% on Rotten Tomatoes. So
Just
not a
justified.
they call it a coming of age movie. Oh my goodness.
That's
Anyways, Hugh Laurie.
Pedophilia is
How
what
did-
it is.
Yeah.
Pedophilia. How'd they spell coming?
Yes, right. Well, that's pretty well the way the movie went. You know, it was Hugh Laurie. who
You know, when you
played
first
Dr.
said the
House.
oranges, I was thinking it was the Trump family that we were talking
Well,
about.
and we couldn't figure out what
kind?
it was called. I had to search by that Dr. House, you know, Hugh Laurie. I knew it's in it, and I found it. The Oranges.
Oh, Hugh Laurie is in it.
Yeah, he plays the scumbag.
Adam Brody, Oliver Platt.
Oliver Platt, he's cool too. Yeah, they're best friends, live across the street from each other. They each have daughters the same age.
Oh, I feel creepy even talking
I know,
about that.
it's just it was
That's-
terrible.
ugh.
We did not enjoy it. So
Well, it's got 5.8 out of 10 on IMDb.
5.8. Oh.
Yeah, but they're known pedophiles. You know that those damn IMDb people. They're into all that sick shit.
I never look at the rankings. I only use it to see what the actor did. Where I recognize him. Where did I see him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I
Tracking
ever
actor,
use it
That's
for.
all IMDb is good for.
Yeah, and to say, well, what was the name of that show that so and so was in?
Yeah.
Well, what was his name? You know, so we have to.
I do all the
Get
same
to
thing,
it.
but I use Track. Track
What do you
is
mean
the
that
one
Yeah,
guy
I
you
was
use.
in
track-
Star Wars?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where? Well, he was one of the starfighters that blew up. You know.
Well, it's like there's just one English actor, and I watch a lot of British cinema and TV shows, and it just I keep tracking him back through the years, and it's like, wow, he was in that. Wow, he was in that.
So we watched
Kind of like
the.
Daniel Craig.
we
He's
were
another one of
watching
those you
the,
find
Scott,
the weirdest
move back
places.
up. Scroll up on your search.
On my search?
Yeah, you were in the orange. I want to see the. Just go back.
Oh, you want to? I was bringing it up on Track.
Well,
Yes.
I was just looking at the movie poster. You should look at it.
Oh, this right. I
The
I get
oranges.
what you're saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
let me bring it up again. There it is.
Look where her hand is.
Yes. Yeah. That happens often. But anyways, we were watching the Super
Disappointed.
Bowl, and the one guy that was the singer.
I'm having a Passion of the Christ moment with this movie. I've never seen it, and I don't think it should exist.
There you go. And we got sucked in. Comedy romance. My girlfriend and I were going to sit and watch a comedy romance with Hugh Laurie in it, and
Right. All right.
Not
Well,
good.
we'll keep that on the don't watch list. And I'm sorry I interrupted your next point.
well, the thing we were talking about the internet, the movie database. We need to find out the James Bond guy, the big tall guy in James Bond that had
Oh,
the
Jaws.
Jaws.
Yeah.
Who played Jaws
Oh, we
in
should go-
James Bond?
That's a Siri call right there. My phone wasn't over there. I'd press a button and go, "Hey Siri."
So, Richard
He
But
just
the
died
one-
not long ago.
The
Yeah.
one character in one of the Super
Richard
Bowl
Keel?
ads had all silver teeth.
2014, he died.
That's where we started with that conversation.
Hey Chester, I don't know how long you've had your hand up. I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. What would you like to contribute?
I was just going to mention that I've always been a fan of history, and particularly in World War II. And I'm watching a new series I haven't seen before on Disney Channel, and it's called Masters of the Sky, and it's produced by.
Oh,
Yeah, that's brand new.
that's Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, yeah, right.
I was just watched something on that. It looks really good.
It is good.
It is good.
One of those ones I wait till Friday when the new one comes out.
And then there's another one that I've watched twice now because it's so well done. It's by Tom Hanks,
It's Band of
and
Brothers.
he's a captain in a destroyer.
Oh no,
Oh, Greyhound.
Greyhound.
Greyhound. And
Greyhound.
That's all.
many of you have seen that, but I've watched it twice now.
Hey, Greyhound, I can't remember. Is that a movie or a series?
Movie.
It's
It's
a
a
movie.
movie. A
You
very
can see how
fast-moving
stellar
movie.
I am.
Right now.
I know. It's a contraction of two words. I
There's-
I can't
Like the dog.
like the dog, yeah. But it's
Um,
the contraction of two words into one word.
So I'm watching Fool Me Once.
Oh, are
Fool
you?
me
I saw
once.
that one.
It's a series on Netflix.
It's good.
Mhm.
Fool me once. Yeah,
Fool me
I looked
once.
at it. I was thinking
I
of
think I'm on season 1, episode 3. Or episode 6, one of those. I may have slept through one. when I-
There's something wrong with me. You know, I start these series. I never get to series 2.
You never get to the second
Well,
season.
I get about halfway through the series and then I forget about it. Yeah, go and do something else. But I don't watch a lot of movies and stuff.
I
Doesn't
don't
seem
like
to.
movies.
My
I like
problem is I
series.
never heard that the second season was coming out.
I check once in a
Some
while.
shows I check constantly.
Yes.
Godfather of Harlem. That's been so great. And they just announced season 4 is coming out here soon.
Tulsa King. Did you ever watch that one?
I started to. I'm
Yeah.
in the process of watching it. That was pretty good.
We maxed that one out.
Yeah, we watched the whole thing. I don't know if there's more coming.
Yeah, there's
Yeah, they're filming.
they got caught up in
Is-
the Raiders strike.
And
Yeah.
we were still waiting.
Is Stallone going to be in the next season?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know he voiced some really open frustrations with doing TV versus movies.
Yeah, he always gripes about doing
And
it.
then I just saw that they're doing the Shogun series on FX.
Yes, Shogun's
Yes.
coming in.
Yeah, it'll be a
I like
mini series.
Barry,
Watch
yeah.
Barry.
Barry was really good first 3 seasons, and then it just kind of
Fourth
fell
season
off.
now.
I got through the first 3, and it was just Henry Winkler was so great in that.
So I asked about Jaws because there was a Super Bowl performer who had tattoos and everything, but he had metal teeth. And
That's
Mhm.
just a rapper thing anymore.
oh, is
They
it?
all have
Yeah.
metal.
They all have metal. Oh my god!
Yeah, it's called a grill.
A grill. Okay,
It's a
so who was
vanity
that?
plate
at
they
the
put
Super
in their
Bowl?
They-
mouth.
They just wear it.
Yeah.
It's like braces only.
It's a mouthpiece.
Yeah, it's like like a
Oh,
mouthpiece for
grills.
boxing, but
Yeah,
it's meant to be aesthetic.
Well, or you get a
Doesn't-
It's like a
for
veneer.
whitening your teeth. Put
It's
it
like a
in there.
veneer.
Only
Yeah.
it's not
It's an
permanent.
it's
That-
an
that's the
overlay
best
veneer. You can
description.
just
It's
take
like
it
a
out.
Take it
veneer.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they permanent?
No.
No.
So you,
Some of them are, yeah.
I was surprised in the Super Bowl how small their mouth guards are now compared to the big.
Yeah, they're just tiny chunks.
Yeah, they're just thin, like
So,
the
plastic.
Holmes was using.
Well, pretty
Maybe-
soon there'll be those wireless ones
Maybe they're-
checking them for concussions, right?
That's a pacifier.
A lot of pacifiers.
I thought some of the commercials
Ooh,
were offensive.
who brought that side of this argument
Well,
in
I
here?
don't
They're just a
see
bunch of
commercials.
babies these days.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Maybe the players are such wusses. They don't need big ones anymore.
Yeah, the commercials
Well,
at the
they're
Super
not wearing
Bowl
them to
didn't.
chew.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like next thing you'll know they'll want certified helmets and stuff like that.
Well, in the 90s, you could tell which football players went to the rave the night before because they had the pacifier in their mouth still.
Pacifiers. That's
No,
really
the
I-
funny.
I
Super Bowl
remember-
ads were
I
not.
thought a couple of them were offensive to me.
Oh yeah, tell us. I didn't see any of the ads. What did you see?
Well,
What-
one of them had, we're broadcasting this, what do you mean? One of them is Robert Kennedy Jr.'s political ad.
Political.
Oh, I heard
Yeah.
about that. That
And
sounded
he's got-
offensive.
His whole family
Pictures
came
from-
out.
Yeah,
making
they
apologies.
jumped on him for it.
Well,
I saw
they
a
should.
great
Yeah,
I-
because he
cartoon.
used
This
footage
morning-
from
This
yeah,
morning he
Kennedy's
had to issue an apology.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did. He apologized to his
It was
family.
offensive.
Well, it
And the
was.
other one that kind of got me, just because I am not, was when they're sitting around and everybody's washing everybody's feet.
It's a Jesus ad.
It's a
It's
Jesus
a,
Really?
Oh, the
yes,
church ad?
Yes.
Yeah.
There were 3 or 4 of those.
Yeah,
There
the
were
biggest
3 or 4
commentary
of them.
about that is if the church has got money for a Super Bowl ad, they can
Exactly.
pay taxes.
Oh my
Exactly.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it
It
was
was offensive.
Well,
that
it's-
was the discussion at our viewing,
On average, $7 million for 30 seconds now.
and
Yeah.
they had
4 or
3 or 4, and they were not the short ones. They
No.
were longer ads. So
That's
that was
crazy.
That is
millions
crazy.
of
If you
dollars.
can
Which church?
see it, it's pretty.
Oh,
It was
who
a
knows?
something
It-
something Jesus wants you or Jesus loves you
Jesus-
.org or something.
Yeah.
Where Jesus didn't scold you, he washed your
So, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and then there was another one, and it was about parenting.
I didn't hear about this at all. That's
Oh,
crazy
oh,
that
it
they would
was-
have that kind of money.
It's
We
just
went,
all-
we kind of went. Did we just see
I
that?
mean, even if you're
You
at
know?
church, you got to keep
So
your head
this-
down if
so
you
where's
got that
the
kind of money.
Doritos?
Somebody making a
This
point.
is what we get instead of Budweiser ads,
I
Right?
know.
Bring back the frogs.
The
Yeah, no
Doritos
kidding.
one was okay, but there was only one right near the end.
Yeah.
But the Clydesdale,
I didn't- I
what that
missed that
feels
one.
like
they didn't have
is
one.
Handmaid's Tale.
Is which? Yeah.
Handmaid's
Yeah.
Tale. That's what it feels like, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
very
that's
strange.
just really off the hook that
Oh.
they would be a religious movement that has so much money that they feel they can invest in Super
They
Bowl.
don't
I've been
feel like
referring
they
to the
did, they
evangelical
They did,
community
yeah.
as the American Taliban for a long time
Oh.
now.
I like the Kawasaki ad.
Everybody was so anti-Taylor Swift because
Yeah.
she is not a Republican.
Right. Everybody was
Really?
losing it because she was on the screen instead of football.
Yeah, the biggest fear the Republicans got right now is Taylor Swift swinging the election.
I hope she does. I told my
I do
granddaughter, you need to vote. They're in that
Judy,
age.
if that's
Well,
your
she did something nice. She would go
Right,
libertarian, so it wouldn't have to deal with those two parties.
Anyway, some of the ads were fairly offensive to me.
Yeah, well, I can see both of those as
Well,
being very
If
offensive.
they get offensive, any more offensive, I'm going to have to stop watching the Super Bowl.
What
We liked
happened?
the game.
Oh, they're
Yeah.
never
We liked
letting
the
my
game.
team win again. So I don't.
It, actually, as Super Bowl games go, it was an extremely good game.
I thought it was a great game.
Went to overtime. Overtime went to 3 seconds before it was decided.
I didn't quite.
It's an exciting
Understand the
game.
new
I mean,
overtime.
it
Super
was.
Bowl, except the wrong people won.
No, the
Oh,
right,
who knows?
No.
Who cares?
right people won.
There is no right or wrong. It's just, it's all entertainment.
Oh, yeah.
The
Yeah, I
truth
know.
is, I don't even know who we're playing.
I saw a
San
Facebook.
Francisco and Kansas
I
City.
saw a Facebook post. If Mike Pence had done the right thing, the Super Bowl would have come out differently.
Well, you know that's a play on FIFA, right? Like
oh, dude.
like
No,
the
there's
people
other
that win
jokes
the
about
soccer
that.
games, they're always saying it's a politically motivated, whether who turns out to win the soccer game.
Well, it depends on which league you're talking about
Yeah,
and what.
me too.
Now, like
Oh,
the
I know.
European.
Well, it also depends on
European
who's,
league is
who's
very
invading
good.
who.
Well, yeah.
I'm trying to not say.
Well,
we gotta go. This is the end of our meeting.
I'm
It's
happy to say-
deteriorating.
Yeah, we
into-
went into sports, for God's sake.
yeah, that's how bad this computer
In the-
club
in the
meeting
me-
has been.
in the
It was
Jim,
weather, sports.
is,
Soccer league
is that we got
championship,
into weather and sports.
Palestine. Took
We
second.
ran out of tech topics.
Yeah, and they beat the Israeli team hands down 5-0.
I didn't put.
Oh, you did.
Okay, somebody owes Judy 10 pesos out of that.
Judy got it.
Oh, you got it? Okay, great.
And you need to pay for your coffee. I
Jim
didn't
or
know that.
James, we will see you next week. We will be here in person again in Tequilas. I'll be here for probably the next 3 weeks, maybe 4. I haven't done the math.
Oh, be still my beating heart.
Before I go back to Phoenix again for a week.
All right.
So-
Have a good one.
You too, man.
There you go.
Everybody have a good week and tech on till next Tuesday.
Yeah, I kind of hated to have that broadcast out, because we have a lot of people that aren't.
I just guess I got some change.
Wasn't that just too bad?